Hi baby angels, it's Beatty. I am back. I've been gone for a minute. I've been very busy with work, which has been kind of overwhelming, with personal relationships that have been overwhelming. Nothing bad, just a lot of obligation and like social obligation and like not being alone very much this summer and like early fall. And a lot of things changing, or really mostly just one thing changing that like affects my whole life. So we'll get into it. I'm gonna do an at present. That's what this is. You can tell by the title of the video. So I'm gonna start with what I've been doing. I did a casual convo the first weekend, I believe, of October with Julie at Peekaboo Rose. It was super fun. It was a little over an hour and I had a blast. So hopefully, oh, and I had like a face reveal. So I haven't shown my face on my channel yet, but I've shown it on Julie's channel. So I will add a link or a card probably up there. And I hope you check it out. And I hope you let me know if you enjoyed it. What else did I do? Oh, so the other weekend I also went to the Oddities Flea Market in downtown LA. It's at the Globe Theater. And it was so fun. And there were so many beautiful things. It's kind of, if you're not familiar, it's very like, if you're aware of kind of Memento Mori, or that's actually a company, that's actually a name of a company or a boutique in LA. That shows and has a booth at this flea market. But Memento Mori, the deck, and then the Antique Anatomy, kind of, curiosities and oddities and things like that. That's what this flea market, it's not flea market prices, I don't know. So it has all sorts of things. It has jewelry, it has lots of taxidermy, lots of like specimens, bones, folky crafting, but with like a gothic or steampunk kind of vibe. And there were some wet specimens. Maybe I'll insert a photo here and I'll tell you the artist, because I was in love with these. I was in love with the specimens themselves, and then the casing that the artist put them in, so beautiful. I never thought that I was into wet specimens because the curiosity or like morbid part of it like isn't really my thing. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like these looked like art to me, and I'm sure that other wet specimens look like art to other people, but it was less about like, oh, this is grotesque or weird or like interesting, and it was more just like I tended to like gravitate towards the fish because they were bright and beautiful. So yeah, and I can totally appreciate things like art that comes from dead things. I think it's really cool, but it's definitely not my aesthetic. So the fact that I really liked these like wet specimen of fish was really cool. I don't know, it was a fun time. I also saw Jagged Little Pill, the musical. It was heavy, it was triggery, I cried, and there were weak moments and strong moments. There were songs that I didn't think needed to like be in there, but I knew they needed to put them in there because they were crowd pleasers, but they didn't really serve the plot very much. They felt like they were shoehorned in, or like the performances weren't amazing. But then there were performances that made me want to cry, like in a good way, and really strong vocal performances. The woman who played the main character was amazing, and there was a lot of age range in the cast, which was really cool. I don't know if I kept the excuse me. I don't know if I kept the playbill. That's my bad. But it was cool. It was definitely worth seeing. It was a fun experience. And I had never been to the Pantages, so that was fun too. Oh, I saw the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I don't know if you've heard of them, a little band. They played Hollywood Bowl. They just put out a new album. It's cool. It's not my favorite, obviously, but that was a really fun time. Karen O is such a good performer. she puts on like the best show, and she also just has so much joy, and it's just infectious when you see her smile. And she does these little like gimmicks or like actions on stage that she's always done, and so like that's really fun, is to kind of see her do these things when she was younger, like the way she holds the microphone or the way she poses or things like that, and everyone just goes nuts for it because it's classically her, and that's what we want to see. The last thing of what I've been doing is I'm moving. So I unexpectedly found out that I needed to move in 30 days. Well, now it's been 2 weeks, so now it's in 2 weeks or less than, I don't know. So I've just been scrambling. I like the first week it was just shock and being paralyzed, and then the second week was planning. This past weekend, today's Monday when I'm filming this, this past weekend I hired movers, and I got everything that was large and things that I wasn't going to be using for this temporary move that I'm making into storage. So that went pretty well, and now I have an empty apartment, and I've been trying to purge. It's not completely empty, as you can see. I have a mattress, I have a desk because I have to work. Anything I'm bringing to the place I'm going to is here, but all of my big furniture is not. And yeah, I've been purging a lot. I've been editing, we call it editing, and it feels really good, actually. It always feels good to declutter, and I know it's not spring, but hey, whenever I can do it, I'll take it, you know? I still have to do my kitchen. I still have to paint the walls back because my kitchen and my living room are black, and I still need to pack my closet. And then the weekend before Halloween, I'll be leaving downtown LA, which makes me very sad, but that's life, right? You gotta do what you gotta do. So that's what I've been up to. Speaking of moving, I'm bringing stuff and then I'm storing stuff because I'm moving into a very small room that doesn't have really storage. It's not going to be my house. So I've edited down. I have like 3 boxes worth of tarot and oracle, and I'm bringing 1 box. And then I had a bunch of boxes of books, and I haven't boxed the books I'm bringing yet, but I think it's only 1 box worth of books. So let's go through them. Thanks for suffering through me talking at a camera, which I haven't done for a while, so I'm probably very awkward. And I just had an amazing salad, like Asian inspired salad with pork, and I think it made me really tired. And like maybe it's not the salad's fault, but I didn't realize the pork would make me feel tired. It was delicious though. Okay, so books I'm bringing. I always want to have some poetry with me because I like to write poetry. So this is just a source of inspiration and just getting my mind going. And Lang Leave is someone that I really enjoyed when I was younger. And I have her box set that one of my best friends gave me either for Christmas or my birthday. I think it was for my birthday. And I don't think I've read this one. Yeah, it looks pretty clean. I usually dog ear. So I'm gonna bring this with me. I'm also bringing Planets in Houses. This one's like scary, but yeah, it's scary, but it's okay because with all the time I'm going to have, hopefully we'll figure it out. I really am wanting to dive like much deeper into astrology than, I mean, I know a lot more than I think the average person I know, but I just want to be better and better, you know? So the next book is The War of Art, Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battles. This was given to me by my cousin years ago because she read it and I still have not read it. And it looks like an easy, very short read, so I really need to get with it. Let me know if you've read this. Another one that's super popular, I tend to get rid of like book sleeves, so yeah, it's plain on the front, but it's Atomic Habits by James Clear, and this has been, I don't know, a New York Times bestseller for like ever. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. Definitely want to learn how to change a lot of my habits, and have wanted to for years, so hopefully that will be a good catalyst for me. And I think I've shared this book before. I'm Bringing Glitter in the Blood, A Poet's Manifesto for Better, Braver Writing. I really like this one. I have been intimidated by some of the exercises, the writing exercises, but I think that's just because, I don't know, I doubt myself, I'm lazy, I have imposter syndrome, yada, yada, yada. Like, if I just do it, and that's kind of the point of writing, is like you just have to do it, and it's not about whether it's good enough, it's just the action of writing makes you better at writing. So yeah, every time there's like an exercise to do, I've like highlighted a lot of stuff, but every time there's an exercise to do, I just like dog ear it and then I don't do it. So I really need to do that, but I'm planning on spending a lot of time alone, so I think I will. I guess I'll report back to you on that. The next book is The Astrology of Love and Sex, and it's by Annabelle Gatt. And I've seen her, I think she writes for, did she write for like Nylon? Does it say? No, it doesn't say. I don't know if this is gonna be, oh, I love how like it's all colorful. Can you see that? I don't know if you can. I don't know, which just looks gilded, but it's all colorful. I don't know if this is gonna be like a fluff book or if it's gonna be really good. So I'll let you know. And I also am not a fan of sun sign compatibility, or just like using only the sun sign to talk about like love and sex, because it's really only like one aspect of, like, I don't know, I think like your personal planets have a lot to do with it. I mean, not I think, I know they do. So it's weird to not include like Mercury and Venus, because like those would make up your love language and your values, and then like not including Mars and like a part of Venus as well, which would be like your turn-ons or like your personality in bed or like all these things, I don't know, or like but like Jupiter is like how you view the world, and that has like a lot to do with being with a partner, right? Like, is not living in two different complete worlds. And I mean, sometimes they can complement each other, where like, oh, I see the world like this and my partner sees the world like this, and we benefit each other in that way. But then other times, like, I don't know, maybe an incompatible Jupiter is really like negatively affecting, and it's a lot harder to relate or like find common ground, you know? I have this amazing version of Dune. I don't know if I've shown it on my channel before, but it's beautiful. Like, how good is this? And I've started reading it. I'm like that much. So I'm bringing this so that I can continue to read this. I heard this really great piece of advice recently, and it was that like you shouldn't hold yourself to one book, because that's not like a good way to be a good reader or like a person who reads a lot, because you might not always be in the mood for that one book. And so that like really comforts me, because I usually am someone who will read a little bit of this book and a little bit of this book and a little bit of that book. And for someone who is an avid reader to validate that and say like, no, that's a great way to do it, because as long as you're reading, like, you're getting through stuff. Anais says hi. Get out of here. I love you. And the last book I'm bringing or the last book I'm showing you that I'm bringing, because I'm bringing actually more than this, is All About Love by Bell Hooks. My brother got this for me. There are some things that she says in here that I don't like the way she words them, but overall I generally agree with what she's saying, and I think it's really valuable. So I'm almost halfway through, so I'm gonna continue with this. And like, let me know if you ever want like an update on how these books are. I don't think I've ever reviewed books before, but that might be fun. So the next section is videos in the queue. So as I mentioned, I haven't made a video in a long time. I plan to be more consistent with that, but it might not happen until November. I know I've already started working on my birth chart decks video. That's a hashtag that I don't know if it already exists, but we've been talking about on YouTube, and I know people have made the video before. So I want to do that. And I was like halfway through making notes, and then I kind of wanted to change some of what I was doing, so I might have to start over. Oh my gosh, my fingers are like stained from like the Mandarin. Cute. Gross. The other video I really want to make is Who Done It, and maybe that'll be the next one I make, because that's only a one deck video, so it'll be easier since I don't have my full collection, which like also makes me nervous, like while I'm at the space that I'll be renting for the next, half a year probably, I won't have my full library. And so like that kind of freaks me out as far as like making videos and like choosing things, because what if I don't know, like what if I don't remember that I wanted to include a deck in a video, or like what if it's not there? I'm not putting my decks in storage. I actually gave them to my mom for her to hold on to for me because I just don't feel comfortable with them being in like a public storage place. They're too valuable, like too valuable in like a literal way and like a figurative way. So she has them. So I guess like if I do think of one that I can't see, then I can grab it. But like my fear is that I won't think of it if I can't see it. And like don't even start on the like if it's out of sight, out of mind, then maybe you don't need it. Like that, I don't need that talk. You don't need to talk to me like that. So you just put those thoughts away. So I want to do Who Done It, and then I also want to do Always Grab Wise, which was by Candy Soul and Soil. Gosh, that's always like a tongue tie for me. But I've been really liking the VRs that I've been seeing for that one. What else do I have for you? Things I've been watching. Okay. Maybe I'll like insert some photos for you so you like have a visual while I'm doing this. The Alien franchise. I've been watching the Alien franchise for the first time. I watched 1 through 4. I really liked, I kind of watched like half of 1 and then went to bed and then like never went back to it and just got like a summation of like what happened. But I really liked 2, and there were things I liked about 3, but overall wasn't a huge fan of 3. I liked like the religious aspect. I liked the lore and like the world building, and I really liked the cinematography and visuals, but like the script sucked, I think. And like the story was kind of, I don't know, not all there. But I did read that like they were changing the script as they were filming and like figuring out the story as they were filming, and you can kind of tell because it's kind of the weakest I think of all the movies as far as the script goes. And then the 4th one I think I liked. Never ever in a million years would I have thought that I would watch Alien. I don't watch scary movies, but I liked them, and I liked that I got to see movies like that were older, or like one of the first breaks that like people like James Cameron got, or one of them was David Fincher was the first one. Oh, who's the first one? Was the first one Fincher? I'll put it in here and I'll let you know. But like, they're great directors that I really respect. So I actually didn't realize that Alien was such a legit like movie. I always thought that it was kind of like silly. I always knew Sigourney Weaver was a badass and like a really strong character, or I kind of got that impression, but I didn't realize how great it was. Also, I watched the Movies That Made Us about aliens, the second one. Oh my gosh, go watch it. So good. So good. Go watch it. And like James Cameron, I think, co-wrote that and like based it off of a screenplay he was writing called Mother. And that's partially why that script is so strong, and like the themes in it are so strong, because it's about motherhood. And just go watch it. Like, go watch both of them. Both of them meaning Aliens too, and Aliens, excuse me, and the Movies That Made Us. Okay, so I also saw Hocus Pocus 2. And I don't know what people on YouTube, like TarotTube, have been saying about Hocus Pocus 2. But I do know that people that I know in real life have been kind of like bagging on it, didn't like it. A couple of people I know did like it, thought it was great. Meg at Rose Honey Ritual said it was camp. Love that. Totally was. Then I was listening to some podcasts, and there were people who were like, I went back and watched the first one and like it didn't resonate the same way. Or I went back and watched the first one and it never resonated with me and it still doesn't. Or people were like, I went back and watched the first one and I loved it and I've always loved it, and like, cool. And then there were people, regardless of how they felt about the first one, that liked the second one, that were like, oh, I would watch this with my family every year. I thought it was great for what it was. Like, I thought it did a good job. And there were other people that said like, meh, it was whatever, or meh, it wasn't good. So it's like all over the board and kind of no rhyme or reason. And I kind of like that, because it's just like everyone should have their own opinion about this. But I also heard somebody say that it was too woke, and I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, that's, I don't know. I don't know when that became like a negative thing. And I know we can talk about like, about it feeling like forced, or like people thinking like that they go overboard. But honestly, like, I'm a white woman and it doesn't bother me, dude. Like, I'm even sick of having like the Hollywood formula and the same like people and everyone of consequence in a movie being white. So if everyone of consequence in a movie, or most of them, aren't white, that's not too woke to me. That's just like different and refreshing and reflective of like more culture in our world, or more specifically our country. I don't know, like yeah, that comment rubbed me the wrong way, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was cute. I loved the younger version of the witches, and I think I kind of went into it with like no expectation and not thinking it was going to be great. And I watched it by myself, which there's something about watching things by yourself that like really lifts any sort of judgment, because there was a moment when I was like, oh, should I be watching this? It's kind of slow. Like, the first half is kind of slow, but then the second half made me just like appreciate everything in the first half. So I was like, okay, this is cute. Like, I don't know, I'm for it. I thought that like they did enough like audience like pleasing things to throw back to the first one. I liked the changes. I don't know, it was good. But it's also like not of huge consequence to me. Like, I don't feel like you ruined the franchise. I don't know, maybe I would have felt that way if I thought it was a terrible movie, but I really didn't think it was terrible. I thought, like, I laughed at things, and it was sweet, and I liked the story arc. I liked that there weren't any love interests in it, because not every, like, I just don't think that there should be a love interest in every family or kid-centric movie, you know? I liked it. So, okay, moving on. Sorry, a lot to say about that one. The Dark Tower. I watched The Dark Tower for the first time. I love that Idris Elba is like our fantasy sci-fi king. Like, I love that. And okay, my hot takes on The Dark Tower. Also great world building and great lore. Didn't get enough explanation of it. Didn't get enough like delving into it. Like, I would have rather watched more about that or watched a series about the Dark Tower, because I felt like the things that were most interesting to me were the things that like didn't get answered, right? Or like they didn't go into at all. And then I thought the kid was good. I thought Idris was good, obviously. The story was pretty good. I don't buy Matthew McConaughey as a fantasy or sci-fi villain, or maybe more of a fantasy villain, because he to me is like so rooted in like the world, like our reality. And they didn't even try, like he's a sorcerer in this movie, and like they didn't even try to make him look like a sorcerer. He looked like a dude, and it's Matthew McConaughey. Like he's so identifiable, and his personality is so specific that like you really need to do something to change the appearance of like who I'm looking at to convince me that this is not Matthew McConaughey and that this is like some evil sorcerer. So like it never felt high stakes to me, and for that reason it like wasn't the best, but like it was entertaining, and like I loved the themes in it, like I said. Okay, lastly, I watched Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. I don't even know if that's the name of it, but it was light and funny and cute and easy to watch, and it was just what I needed that day. And I loved Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers when I was a kid. And yeah, it was cute and funny and silly, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. Okay, so we want to get to the fun part? Okay, the fun part is my decks. And I got this pair of decks today in the mail from Kickstarter. The Hanabishi Oracle. You can see it says day and night. I have not even opened these yet. I have not opened them. Let's see what they say on the back. The Hanabishi Oracle is created entirely from public domain Japanese fireworks catalogs from the 1880s. In Japanese, hanabi means fireworks, and hanabishi, I don't know if you pronounce them differently when they're like alone and then together. Let me know. Hanabishi, and if that's not the way you pronounce it, please also let me know. Means a fireworks master. Experience the Hanabishi Oracle and learn to read the skies. It comes in 2 versions, night and day, and collect both decks to expand your vision. This was a Kickstarter. I don't know if I mentioned that already. And it was compiled and adapted by Susie Grossman. So let's check it out. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so it has a little book. Cool, just like easy keywords. And then some more information. Okay. Oh, so beautiful. Same thing here. This is the back. Oh, the backs are the same. So you literally could combine these. Okay. Oh, my foot. It's completely tingly. Ooh. Okay, let's just go through a couple of these and see. Oh, so gorgeous. I love that these are real too. Like, this isn't like an artist's interpretation. I mean, obviously it is an artist's interpretation, but like, it's not a modern artist's interpretation of like vintage fireworks. This is from the 1880s. It looks like there's 49 cards per pack. And they're gorgeous. Let's see. Okay, let's look at these two. So number 36. Perseverance, patience, fluidity. That has a typo, but that's okay. And then this one is shadow and elegance. Yeah, these are going to be really fun to play with. Like, I don't know exactly how they're going to fit into my practice yet, but we shall see. And I at first was only going to get the day because I feel like I have decks that have like a black background like that. But then I was like, oh, but you got to get the set. Like, how good could they be together, you know? I don't know. This deck, I think I may have already talked about, but I don't care because I forgot I had it for a second and it's new. So like, I shouldn't be doing that. And I love it. So this is the Book of Thoth by Atea, I believe is how you pronounce it. And I didn't even know Atea tarots existed or Atea the artist existed until I think Atea is the artist. I really don't want to sound ignorant. I'm like checking. I think that it is. Well, I mean, I can do some research. I also like the backs. But anyway, I first saw this deck, I think, and others by Atea or Atea Tarots. I don't know if Atea is a person. I really need to do research on that. I will put it here. From, oh my gosh. I know the channel name. I know I'm spacing. I'm sorry. I've been like, it's Shark Week. I love the colors. And not only is it Shark Week, I like the coordination that I've had to implement on this move. I'm like, my eye is literally twitching right now. Oh, you know who you are, and I'm gonna write your name, and like, you're so cool, and I like your videos, so like, please don't hate me. Thank you for showing me Atea Tarot. They're so good though. I don't know, I really like historical art and decks, but I am very specific about the colors and the art itself. Like, I can't go for most Marseille decks because they just don't speak to me, especially the coloration of them. But this one really did. I mean, I know this isn't Marseille, but this historical deck really did. So when I do find a historical deck that I really love, I have to get it. I have no... It's really the majors that are so gorgeous. I really have no self-control. Cue Frank Ocean. Oh my gosh, the other day, I've been going to a lot of like yummy food places, and the other day I was at this place called Pizzanista, and it's in the art district downtown, and they played Frank Ocean the entire time I was there. Like, it was like Spotify radio or something, and it was so good, and I was like singing to it and eating my pizza, and it was wonderful. The next deck that I have that's new is the Caitlin Madison Tarot. It's very psychedelic, it's very witchy. It's kind of like a fashion deck too. It's been having a moment on TarotTube. I don't know, this is one of those that I kind of like on camera better than in person. But I felt like if I didn't have it, especially like things like this, my my collection felt like incomplete, like I was missing out. And it's not like a FOMO thing, like not a lot of people have this one. My swan keeps falling. I'm just gonna let it sit there. I don't know, like it's I'm torn about it. There are maybe I need to like cut off the borders. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna do anything with it yet other than try to connect with it, but it's very sick. It's very cool. So I don't know, sometimes the white space, and then I've seen people talk about how like some of the astrological associations are wrong, which at first I was like, how do you ignore those? And then I realized like, yeah, they're easy to ignore. It's not a big deal. So that's that one. I have a few more. I don't know if I showed these, but I talked about this one in our casual convo. And then I did also just get the John Bauer. So this is the Tarot of 1001 Nights. And this is the John Bauer, like I said. I wish that these borders were like a darker green or something. But again, this art is like very folk and historical feeling and interesting, fantasy. It's a vibe. I haven't had the chance to work with it. Like I said, if I'm not making videos, I'm not like touching my tarot a lot, which is a bummer. I've tried to like do a few readings in the past like month, but that's kind of been the gist or the most of it. So I haven't like had playtime with this deck yet. So we'll see. But I really do want to connect with it. This one, surprisingly, I connected to very quickly. I haven't done any readings for anyone with this deck. I wish it was larger because it's such detailed art. I love the backs. I also kind of want to, this is one that like it already has borders, so like it doesn't need to really have the white. And then like even if it did keep the white, I would prefer it to be the same size of white all the way around, because then it feels like more intentional and less like, oh well, we had this information to put on it and this what is it called, scale, like, right, like this proportion is what all our cards are and it's the easiest to print, blah blah blah. So like it just feels like, what's the word, oh, how beautiful, beautiful. Look at the cat. Ugh. So like this is my dream. This is my dream. What was I saying? Oh, like convenience, like money and convenience is what it feels like. And like, I don't want it to feel like that. This is such a luxurious, beautiful, sumptuous deck. Like I really want to fall into the cards, and I feel like this is all very distracting, but like I also feel like I want to know it's the Knave of Chalices. So I haven't really figured out how I'm going to correct that or rectify it, I guess. So I'll let you know. Okay, the last deck is the Alchemical Visions Tarot. And it's big, so I'm pulling it away so that I can open it. I've wanted this for a while. I did not realize how huge these cards are. Like, I had no idea. Or maybe like I had seen that they were big, but I like, you can't tell in people's videos. Like when they're like, oh yeah, these cards are massive. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, but I always want cards to be bigger. I literally, you get what you ask for. Like what? And I don't have like a tiny hand. I have like, I guess I don't know, air signs have like long fingers and they have like long and wide palms. But like this is huge. You can't tell, but look at how cool it is. I know a little bit about alchemy. I don't know a lot. This would be really cool with Kim Cran's like Wild Unknown, the alchemy deck that she did. I don't have it, but I feel like it would be cool. I don't know. What do you think? It's so beautiful. I love this Seven of Cups. This might be my favorite Seven of Cups ever. And I got this, I think last night, 2 nights ago. So I have not done anything with it. I did like a 3-card spread about my move. I love this one too. Like such a good star. Yeah, so those are the new decks that I have gotten in the past month or so. And then my last little wrap up situation is, okay, conversations around the tarot. So maybe should we get a couple? Let me get a couple cards so we can talk about. Okay, so the first conversation that I really want to talk about is titles in tarot. So there's a Discord that I'm on, and I don't always get to kind of, I'm not always like able to catch up on all the threads, but there was this conversation about titles in tarot, and I guess you can't see this title. There we go. And whether people prefer them or not, etc. And I didn't realize I had an opinion about this and until they were having the conversation. And it started around the Ritual Tarot, which if you haven't heard is getting a second edition that has titles. The first edition does not have titles. It's gorgeous. Many people think it's perfect the way it was. And I agree in a sense. I think it was perfect the way it was, but it wasn't for me the way that it was. And I'm very excited about the new edition because it has titles, and it also, the titles feel cool and they remind me, so they're cut and paste of like publication letters, so the alphabet from magazines. So it feels very Vogue, very Vanity Fair, very bizarre, you know, that kind of thing. And that is something that I really loved when I was a teen. And in my 20s, I was going to school for fashion, and I was obsessed with fashion magazines and publications. And so it really kind of set the tone for like taste level for me. And I really, really enjoyed it. And being very into magazines kind of made me understand that like a composition, or not understand, it kind of like swayed me. Like I already love the written word and I love writing. So words mixed with images in a magazine became very pleasing to me. So then my reaction to TRMA's Ritual Tarot with titles is so positive. Something about these titles and the way that they were done feels very high fashion punk rock to me. It feels very Alexander McQueen. It feels very Vivienne Westwood. It still feels dark and beautiful, but it also has an accessibility that makes me justify buying the deck. I wanted to buy the deck originally, but it was right when I had discovered Telesma, and they were similar enough but different enough, and Telesma felt more like me, and they were both investment pieces. So I got Telesma and I passed on Ritual. That is a very long roundabout way of saying that conversation turned into a larger, do we like titles in cards? Do we like Titleist cards? And I feel like largely even though I am very picky and a stickler about fonts and things like that, I find that I prefer cards that have titles. Something like this feels very thrown together to me. I don't really love when it has just one little image of a sword for the entire sword suit, especially when the type of image that this is, or that these are, doesn't relate at all to the art of the actual card. I don't like when the number, and the number's fine, like you don't have to, like you can have a number, you don't have to write it out, but I don't like when the number, either the font and or the color, relate to anything about the image in the card. Like it doesn't even look like a juxtaposition. And I don't think that this green is the worst green, because there's a lot of this green, this lighter one, in these cards in the John Bauer Tarot. But I'm not looking, like when I look at this whole card as one piece, I don't feel like I'm looking at this like masterpiece and this unified, cohesive composition. Does that make sense? This is a fine example. It's not the best, it's not the worst. I don't hate the font, I don't love the font. I don't hate the borders, I don't love the borders. I don't think it's the most harmonious thing to have a border just on the top and the bottom. Again, like definitely not. Let alone ones that aren't the same size. I think that this might look more intentional and gallery-like if it were a white border on all sides. And then maybe I wouldn't even mind that it was less on top than on bottom, because if the sides were a little bit wider, it would look, like I said, more gallery. And these are just my opinions. This is just my own preferences, and so you can like and dislike whatever you want, and I don't think that there's a right and a wrong. I think that I was brought up in one school of thought when it comes to art and what's aesthetically pleasing, and I think I also have my own tastes that are specific and individual to me, and that's what it is. I think that this font is genius and beautiful, and I think that it resembles kind of the stamped font on crates of where, like how fireworks would be shipped. I do respect and understand why it only has a number and not any keywords or titles. And I think that that could be like, you know, this could be open to interpretation, but this kind of oracle deck, I would like to have some sort of title. But honestly, like maybe it would just take away from how kind of authentic this deck feels, because this is probably just the slide. I think she changed the numbers, but these numbers were on the historical books, right? So maybe that one gets a pass. I talked about this one already. I think that these cards could be beautiful, 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 but I don't love the fact that the borders are different on there's three different sizes of borders, and I know that this is really great that they have multiple languages, but I think it's distracting. And I don't think there's a fix for that. No judgment whatsoever. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I do wish this card was twice as big though, so that I could, or maybe 1.5 times, so I could really see this image closer and more beautifully, more detailed. On the other end of this is huge. I don't love this font and I don't hate it, but I do like that it's not the biggest thing on the card, and I do like that it feels cohesive with the rest of the card. I do like all this like filigree. And I think that like this typeset is very newspaper, and that's kind of the same up here. And it kind of is, it's kind of echoed in this line work type of art that is going on, which is very newspaper, printing press type of art style. So I get, it makes sense. It's not my favorite font, but it makes sense. This one feels, again, since it feels very authentic, I don't have a lot of complaints about it. It is kind of a narrow card. It's like, you know, a smallish card. But it looks like someone took the original image and put it on a card, and then I don't want it to change all of these things. This is part of it. This, isn't it funny how there's something about it being historical that makes it like better or different? Like it makes it more stylish because it's antique, right? That's so funny. Like everything I said about the last one, you get why there are no words on these, because they're really beautiful and impactful this way. It just makes it, you're really reliant on the little booklet, unless you want to just go your own way and interpret these as you want. I mean, that could be a full moon, you know, but I kind of don't want to. I kind of want to use those the way that they're told to be used in the booklet. I don't know, or the interpretations. No one's telling you how to use anything. The other conversation that I got into, and that might sound heavy, it's not, it was a casual conversation, but I guess there's been a lot of commentary, or I've seen a lot of commentary lately on AI decks, and I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. And I think there's some good stuff out there that maybe pulls the veil off of any confusion or things that we don't really know about tarot, like the mystery about AI art and like AI art for tarot. Maybe I'll add the name of the artist that had a couple really great posts on the screen, so you can look it up if you so choose to. But new types of art have always been challenged, and art is meant to elicit a response emotionally. I personally find a lot of AI decks very beautiful. I think that there's a difference between not liking an AI art deck because it's not really your aesthetic and you don't vibe with it, and then gatekeeping what's allowed to be art in tarot and what's not. Yeah, I mean, if we are respecting and applauding artists for being inspired and updating Pamela Coleman Smith's art, I don't think that we should be judging or rejecting artists who make AI art. And I don't think that there should be this benchmark of how hard something is and how long it takes to do, which, as I'm saying that, I feel like in one of the posts that this artist of like a very popular AI deck, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, and I will include it so that you do know which one I'm talking about. Maybe I'll add some photos as well. But it, from what I've heard, It is very specific. It does take effort and it does take time. But I really don't think we should be measuring art that way as it is. And I think we should be respecting artists. And I think that like it's just really important to include, when we're speaking about our opinions, include the fact that they are our opinions and it's our personal preferences, and not diminishing or dismissing or discrediting people who are creators. It's very obvious when creators are disrespectful to the medium and like the tool that tarot is. And I think in my opinion, that's a different thing entirely. So yes, are we allowed to criticize creators if they are disrespectful, if they're ignorant, if they are harmful to the community, or speaking or behaving in a way that is like not acceptable? 100%. But do AI decks fall into that? No. And I'm not saying anyone's saying that they do. I'm just saying that like I think it's a fine line between, like, I don't know. I just think it's really bizarre that like I've seen people start conversations like, are AI decks like legit? Should they be allowed to be here? I don't think it's okay, like kind of deal. Like, I don't know. I've seen it on Facebook and I'm just like, and I don't go on Facebook other than to sell a deck or buy a deck or like post, like I was posting furniture. And I think I just randomly saw someone post about this, like, and it just like came up on my feed when I opened the app. Yeah, I don't know, you guys. I've personally backed an AI deck on Kickstarter. I'll go ahead and share some screenshots of it. And it was on a larger channel and there was criticism there. I think that people are quick to dismiss things that aren't like they're not into, or like they don't think is like cool, and that's totally fine. Like I do it too, and I don't know. I'm not trying to like make anyone feel bad. I just think AI art is cool, and if you don't, that's totally cool too. But like, make sure you're saying it's not for you rather than saying like it's not credible and it's not real and it doesn't have a place in tarot, because I don't really think that's your call. You know what I mean? The last thing that I had on my list of things to talk about was deck creator DMs. And I don't have a lot of skin in this game. I'm not a deck creator, and I also haven't been getting DMs, but I know that consent is like a really big deal. So I guess like I've been listening a lot. I've been listening a lot to my friends, creators and reviewers, and I think that we should be able to voice our opinions about things online and not feel scared that there's going to be some sort of retaliation. Like, as long as those opinions are respectful. I guess the consensus was, if you're a creator and you see someone commenting an opinion about something, maybe you want to set the record straight or add more information or whatever, maybe like do that on your own platform and not come after or like not respond to people in their DMs if like they aren't making a video on your deck, you know? I guess it's a different thing if someone's reviewing your deck in a video. But then there was another suggestion that I saw in this Discord that a bunch of us are in. If you are a deck creator and you do have a question, or you do want to share some more information to someone, asking if that's okay first to the person, it goes like so far. It goes so far, because then you know that that person is engaged in like a consensual conversation and really is willing to hear what you have to say. And what you have to say is just as important as what they have to say. Their opinions on your deck are valid. If you feel like there's misinformation, it's just sensitive. We're all sensitive. So it's new territory for a lot of people. And I don't think that people always know the best course of communicating or what to do. And I think we all need to give like a lot of graces. But at the same time, it's important that people are dedicated to being better at communicating and making other people feel safe in their spaces online. We all love tarot. We all love decks. That's why we're here. And mutual respect. I don't think that like a deck creator is more important than a reviewer, and I don't think a reviewer is more important than a creator. I think that we all need each other, and I think that we all need to make each other feel supported, but be able to speak our own truths at the same time. And I don't think it's always easy, and I don't have all the answers. But so that's my at present, you guys. That's a lot. Maybe I'll edit a bunch of that out. We'll see. But I hope that you're having a great October. I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for being curious. Thanks for being my friend. My mom's coming. I gotta go.